Hey YouTube, welcome to the Comic Book Community 411 and my special guest, Neil from Neil's Comics and Video Games.
Hey,
Welcome,
you
Neil.
too.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Well, good to have you on the show. Um, so why don't we just jump right in? So why don't you tell everybody about how you got into comic book collecting?
It was when I was like a teenager, back in England. My mother and father used to give me pocket money. It wasn't much money. We didn't really have much money. Like, we were kind of poor family, and they used to give us like probably £2, which is like roughly around $3 maybe. And every week they used to give us that money, and we had a where we get comics from and newspapers and stuff. It's kind of a news agent, it's called. And I used to go down there and look at all the comics and stuff. And I'm sure I used to pick up, like, I can't remember exactly which one it was, but it was like a Spider-Man comic.
Okay.
And I used to do that when I was like probably 12, 13. Just used to go down and pick the comics up and stuff. And the thing is, when I was young, I didn't know the value of comics or anything. And I used to like get some scissors and start cutting pictures out and stuff like that. And once I got like into my probably in 20s or something, I started going out to bars and stuff like that. And I stopped collecting comics. And then last year I started collecting comics again. And
Yeah,
that's
I think
basically,
I think a lot of us have that, same type of scenario where we collected when we were younger,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then, life happens, we get distracted with, work and hanging out and,
yeah, yeah.
friends, and then, eventually we end up, coming back to it.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so question probably 1A, it's not one of my usual questions, but you mentioned, so you grew up in England. When did you come to the States?
It was, I've just had my 14 years wedding anniversary. So I think it was like when I came over, it was 2009, and I've been over here since then.
Okay. So, fairly recently. Um, you've been what? So yeah, like you said, 14 years maybe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, something around there. I know I've been married that long, and I just came over, and more or less we got married, and I stayed over here,
Okay.
applied for a visa, and then stayed here.
Okay. And so how did you make the leap? So you got back into collecting about a year ago. But so how did you say, okay, now I'm going to jump into starting a YouTube channel?
Um, well, I play video games as well, and I was like thinking about doing like a YouTube channel for video games, and I thought, well, I don't think I can sit in front of a camera and talk. Do you know what I mean? And then I got like there weren't that many games coming out, so I thought I'm going to start collecting comics because some of them comics have a fair amount of value. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to get into comics again. And then I was watching YouTube, see what comics people are picking up. And the first person I started watching was Main Event Comics. And he like kind of inspired me to start a YouTube channel. I
Okay.
thought, well, I could do that. So that's how I actually got into having a YouTube channel.
Yeah, I think and that was a similar experience for me.
Mm,
I went to YouTube to look up some information on how to ship
mm,
and pack comic books, and then I started to watch some more, kind of found more channels, and then realized,
yeah.
well, maybe I could do that, so maybe I
Yeah, yeah.
could start my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Mm.
So, what about a character who, if you could rewrite or reboot a character, or take over a comic book, what would you who would it be, and what would you do with it?
It would. I'm not sure. I think there's been rumors about her coming back. I don't know if she is actually going to come back or not. I've not seen anything yet, but Dazzler, I'd love to see Dazzler come back with their own line of series of comic books. So that would be good.
Okay.
And if she
Yeah, I would
actually
think.
comes on, sorry.
I would, I would think with some of the streaming services, maybe Disney Plus or something,
Hmm,
that could be a candidate. Dazzler could be a good character to try to maybe develop, on a small screen first.
yes, yeah. Mm,
I mean, because she has a pretty long history, right, with the X-Men and
she does, yeah.
yeah, her own series. So yeah,
Mm,
she's been around for a while. So
yeah, she's an interesting character.
yeah. Oh, all right, that's a good pick. What would you like to see with Dazzler? Do you have any do you have any like storylines or anything in mind?
Not really, no, just something different, probably.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you heard it here first. So if you see an announcement that Dazzler's coming to Disney Plus, Neil's predicted it.
Yeah.
So what about what is maybe something you don't like about comic book collecting, or maybe the YouTube comic book YouTube community, something that maybe you don't really care for and maybe you'd like to see changed?
Um, comic collecting is probably the all the variant covers. There's way too many variant covers for certain books, and I just feel like right now that the price of like bags and boards and the boxes are ridiculous price. Even like just a plain white box, they've gone down a little now, but that they were nearly like $10 a box over here where I live in Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, considering it's really just it's a piece of cardboard.
It's all that's all it is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it is
mm,
pretty expensive. Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think people consider when you start collecting is all of the,
yeah,
you need the bags, the boards, the storage. So there's a
yeah.
lot of additional cost to it other than
Mm.
just, the comic books
Not
themselves.
just the comic books. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the community, it might just be me, but I just wish people would actually do more shout outs, help the smaller channels. I know a lot of people do, but there's a lot of channels that don't actually do it.
Yeah, yeah, I think there's a mix, right? I think
Yeah.
when you're
Mm,
starting out or when you're not maybe as big as some channels, you're trying to build the community and you're trying to help yourself grow, but then also help
mm,
others.
yes.
But I think at some point when you reach a certain point, you may not be as um, maybe not as focused on it because you're doing, whether you're monetized or you have subscriptions
Yeah.
or, so
Mm,
yeah, but the one good thing I think I've found is that a lot of the collecting community as a whole, the cards and the toys, they're very supportive. All of the different people that collect different things are
yeah.
very supportive of one another.
Mm,
Yeah, which is good. So okay. My last question. Well, we typically do on the show, we do 411. So it's the four kind of standard questions and
yeah.
then
Mm.
two random questions. But I know you actually have some questions that you'd like to ask me. Um, so I don't know if you want to just go into those now.
I can give you a couple of questions. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. All right.
I was just wondering, how does your wife feel about you collecting comics? Does she read them comics or
No, she has no no interest in
no?
comics. But she doesn't mind. She's very good with my, she supports, she's been to the comic book shop with me. We've been out maybe running errands and I say, "Oh, I want to stop at the shop." And she'll come in with me and, kind of browse around the store, but she has really no interest in comics. She is a good sport though with the movies and TV shows. She
Yes.
then watches pretty much all of the Marvel,
Mm,
basically any movie that I'm interested in, she'll watch. And she's been watching all of the Disney Plus shows.
yeah.
She likes Star Wars, so she's watched, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
We just finished Moon Knight together, so She is into the the films and shows.
Yeah.
Um, I just haven't been able to get her to look at a comic book.
Mm. My wife, she used to read comic books when she was young, and then she just stopped reading them, and then she seen me collecting them again, and she was like, "Oh, get them Dazzlers!" And she actually said, "Oh, go and get some money and buy those." And she said, "I might even read those," but she never did,
Okay.
because she remembers when she was young reading them, and and I've kind of hinted if she would actually come on YouTube, kind of thing, and she said, "No, I'm not doing that." She watches my videos and everything, but she doesn't. She won't like take part.
Okay. Well, so at least she's supportive of what you're doing, though.
Oh yes, yeah. So, do you have like the most expensive comic book? Have you? Do you know the values of any, or have you?
I do. Unfortunately, I've sold a bunch of books before because when I got back into collecting, I really wasn't collecting at first. I had books that I had from when I was a teenager, and I
Yeah.
started looking at the values and started selling some of those books.
Mm,
And I bought a few collections, and I had a few books graded, and I ended up selling those. But then after getting watching YouTube channels and that, I got the itch to collect again, and so now I wish I didn't sell some of those books, but I did have so I bought a collection of books, and I had the Clone Wars issue number 1,
right.
which was the
Mm,
first appearance of Ahsoka,
yeah.
and I had it graded. It came back in 9.6, and I ended up selling that book for almost $1,500.
That's good.
So that was probably the most valuable book that I
Mm,
owned at
yeah.
one point. And I paid probably $1 for the book.
Mm,
So it was I was able to make some money and basically pay for the entire collection that I bought and then some. But I have some Spider-Man books, some Amazing Spider-Man books that are slabbed that are probably a couple $100, but I don't have any of the big books, Amazing Spider-Man 300. I do have some raw books. I do have the first appearance of Miles Morales, so Ultimate Fallout 4, but I haven't gotten it graded yet. So that might be one of the books that
yeah.
has the most value.
Mm. I don't really have anything of any high value, to be honest. I think the most expensive is probably like probably $120 or something like that. I haven't been collecting that long. I haven't even been collecting a year, so it may come eventually, something that's expensive.
Yeah,
um,
and I think you always have the opportunity, right? If you're buying new books each week, the
yeah,
modern books, you never know that a book could, increase in value.
yeah,
Um, but I think I certainly want to go back and start to collect some of the key Amazing Spider-Man books, but I'm just not there, financially right now. I'm just not at the position where, I'm happy with just picking up some new books every week. And if I can find a good deal on an older book, I might pick it up. But I just don't have the, excess money right now to be able to, invest in some, older key books, and that's okay. I'm fine with that.
hmm yeah. Uh, the last question I wanted to ask is, I do video games as well now, and I know you play video games now. Just curious when you actually started playing video games.
Oh, I mean, I started playing video games as probably a 7 or 8 year old. I
Yeah,
remember friends. I didn't have a video game system for a while, but I had friends. I remember a friend having the original Pong, Pong system where you just played Pong, and
yeah,
then Atari 2600. A lot of friends who had it. My first system was the Intellivision system. It's
mm,
a and then I had ColecoVision, and
yeah,
then I had I'm trying to think what was after that. I think I had an NES system or Nintendo, and then a Super Nintendo system for a little while.
mm,
But then I felt when the PlayStation came out, I bought for my birthday. I bought myself a PlayStation, the original PlayStation, and then I've been always a PlayStation guy basically since then. I've had I don't have a PS5, but I had the PS1, PS2, PS3, and still have the PS4 that I
Right.
play on today. So
Yeah.
what about you? How did you get into video games?
Um, it was probably around the same age as you. My father, he used to like video games and stuff, and I remember him getting. I don't know if they were in America though. I, I don't know if it was like a British company, but Sinclair ZX81. He got one of those, and I used to play around with that. And then I got a Sinclair Spectrum. It was
Okay,
like
yeah,
a
they don't sound familiar to me. Yeah.
no, you may not have had them over in America. And then I got a Atari ST. It's like basically a computer. It was, and then I think he got an Amiga.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had that. I had a Commodore.
Commodore.
Um,
That's it. Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I had a Commodore 64. It was my
Yeah.
first computer, and
Hmm.
then I had an Amiga, and yeah, I used to play a lot of video games on the computer. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was about it. And then he stopped getting them, and then like got a job and got my own money, and then I got a PlayStation 1. And I
Right.
used to love that. And then eventually I think I got a PlayStation 2. And then got a PlayStation 3, but I just couldn't get away with the PlayStation 3. And I got a Xbox 360.
Okay.
And I love that thing. The games on that, like the Gears of War and stuff like that, I really enjoyed that. And that's what got me into like the modern games. I used to play
Right.
online with people and talk to people and stuff like that on the multiplayer games and stuff. And then I got the Ring of Death, and
Oh yeah.
I ended up getting another console, a newer version that was like weren't really prone to the Ring of Death, and that lasted a while. And then I got Xbox One, and I just got bored of it, so I got a PlayStation 4, and that's what I've had since. I
Yeah.
really enjoy that.
Yeah. I've enjoyed the PlayStations. I mean, I used to play probably the first person shooter that I ever played was a game called SOCOM on the PlayStation, and that was kind of before Call of Duty really took off. And then I really started playing, Call of Duty.
Mm,
But we used to play a lot of games with my kids. Ratchet and Clank was probably one of my favorite games that we used to
yeah,
play on the PlayStation 2. Um,
yeah,
so but I think it really once they introduced online play, being able to play with other people, and high speed internet. Once that really kind of kicked in,
yes,
that really kind of propelled
hmm
video gaming.
yeah.
What's one of your favorite games that you've played?
My all-time favorite game probably would be Gears of War, the first Gears of War.
Oh, okay.
That was really something. And like the games on the PlayStation 4, I would probably say Horizon Zero Dawn. I don't know if you've ever played that.
No, I haven't.
That's a really good game. The graphics and everything just really good.
Yeah, I used to play a lot of sports games like Madden,
Hmm.
football, or used to play. We had like a group of friends that would always play the hockey, NHL,
Yeah.
EA Sports hockey, and that because that was more of like you're hanging out with a bunch of friends and you could play a bunch of games, maybe have a little tournament or something like that. But that
Hmm.
was really before online play was really happening.
Yeah.
So
The multiplayer game, my favorite multiplayer game would be Rainbow Six Siege. I don't know if
Okay.
you've ever played that.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
It's very tactical.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You need to work as a team, and yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's a good game. But that's all I wanted to ask you. I don't know if you want to ask me. Did you say you have another question or?
Yeah, I mean, I have some random questions. So what I'll do is give me a number 1 through 50, and I'll give you a random question that I have.
Uh, 20.
20. All right. So 20 is okay. This is what's the best joke you've ever heard?
I don't know really. No, that one's a hard one.
Yeah, I don't know if people really tell jokes. It's more about, posting memes and things like that nowadays.
Yes, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything, but I'll the one Glory just told recently on my video. What's the Preptol's favorite dance?
Oh, it's got to
It's
be
the
the
twist.
twist. Yeah. Yeah, that's a dad joke if I've ever heard one.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I think that's really all the questions I had. What do you have planned coming up, on your channel? I know you recently, kind of rebranded the channel
Yes.
and
I've got a few different video games lined up to kind of do video review gameplay kind of style thing, and I just recorded like the PlayStation Plus thing. I'm going to do
okay.
that probably every month when the new games come out. I will actually do like a short review of each game, the 3 games.
Okay.
Each month I'll do that. I've already got that recorded. I haven't uploaded it just yet.
Okay.
And then I'm going to try and do comic related games, if you know what I mean, like do comic books of Tomb Raider. I haven't got that many books for her though, but I'm going to try and talk about the comic books when they got released.
Okay.
And then I'll do some gameplay of the Tomb Raider games and talk about the games a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, have the tie-in. Yeah, okay. That
Yeah,
sounds good.
try and do that, work it between the two.
And you mentioned main event comics. So David at main event, what do you think of his? He's been doing the wrestling series where he's pitting up, superheroes against different characters and stuff. Um, and he's kind of really embraced the wrestling aspect of his channel. So, what are your thoughts on the video game videos that he's been doing?
I really enjoyed them. At first, I thought, oh, I don't know if that's going to kind of work. But once he did a few, I really enjoy watching them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
enjoyed watching the one that he did. He put you into the game. That was fun.
yeah. Yeah, well,
Interesting
he
to
had
see.
reached out, or he had mentioned, he's like, "Oh, if anybody wants to be," I'm like, "Yeah, why don't we do that? That sounds
Yeah,
like fun."
yeah, and
And
it's
now
fun.
he's got like a little tournament going,
Yes,
um, and I could, if I win my first match, I could match up against Freedom Sufferer cards, one of the other YouTube channels. So I'm
yeah,
hoping that happens.
yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah,
So
I like what he's doing.
yeah, no, it's definitely been entertaining to see. He does his comic haul and then having the wrestling video has been
Mm,
fun to watch. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really big on the wrestling games myself, but when I seen that game, I thought to myself, I wouldn't mind playing that. If you can create your characters like that, that's kind of fun.
Yeah. No, it definitely looks fun. I haven't played a wrestling game in some time, but that definitely does look like it could be fun.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
All right. So anything else that you want to mention or say, about your channel or things coming up or
I'm doing the giveaway for if once I reach 200 subscribers. Um, I want like an entry video of to do 5 shout outs, and I, I think it was 5 gimmick covers. If you're a content creator, that is.
Yeah, I have it's on my to-do list, so I
Yeah,
plan on making a video for you.
I kind of relied on you doing it, and Main Event's going to do one.
Yeah, no, I have it on my list to do. I'm hopefully going to get it done for you in the next couple of days. But yeah,
Yeah,
I plan on that. I think it's a great idea because it's an easy way. For me as a creator, it's an easy way to come up with an idea for a video when you're doing
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And like you said, it's a good. We're doing shout outs, so it helps
yeah.
smaller channels or other channels that people may not be aware of. So
Hmm.
yeah, I always like to jump in on those those video challenges.
Hmm. Yeah.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up. So yeah, I'll have links are down below in the description for Neil's channel, so definitely go. If you're not subscribed to him, please go check him out. Go watch some of his videos, subscribe him, give him a like on his video. And that's it. So Neil, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, it was great catching up with you and getting to know you a little
Yeah.
bit better. So
Thank you.
yeah. And thanks for your questions too.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Take care.